Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to MotorMaster Monday, live from Las Vegas Motor Speedway on NASCAR Heat 5. It is round 33 of the 2022 NOSSCAR MotorMaster Series season. First race in the round of 8 here in the playoffs. And as you saw on your screens a moment ago, it was Matt Smith in the 2 taking the lead from your pole sitter, which was Aaron Garcia here in the 1 car. Hot lap for him in qualifying just a few minutes ago. And we're off to a great start here. Stage 1 of the Las Vegas Motor Speedway playoff race for these MotorMaster Series drivers. There's 20 cars on track, 8 drivers still alive in the hunt for the championship this year. It's the 5th annual season for these drivers in the Xfinity cars on the NASCAR Heat Games. I'm Tyler McMurder. Strap yourselves in. 100 laps. It's the High Roller 300, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Now the 2-time Platinum Cup champ, that's Matt Smith. He leads the way. Got Aaron Garcia just behind him in the number 1, Chevy Camaro. 6 wins for him this season. In fact, the top 2 on the track combined for a grand total of 17 wins here in 2022. There's Team G in the 10 car, who was eliminated in the round of 12, but made the playoffs in his rookie campaign. He just took over P2, and he did it on the outside there of Aaron Garcia, and that was over in 3 and 4 last time by. Trey Hollywood scored in 4th in the 51. He is a round of 8 playoff driver, and you just saw a moment ago, Blair Roussel moves out of the way and gives Jason Doro the 5th place position. Jason, of course, the defending MotorMaster Series champion, but he's still winless here this season. He's already worked his way up into the top 5 after starting this race in 17th. Keep your eye on him. A lot of factors and a lot of keys to winning today's race. So there's a lot of strategy that's going to unfold. There's going to be a lot that goes into winning here tonight at Las Vegas. The draft is definitely going to be one of the key factors. You can see the top 3. They're running single file for the most part, and they're not really battling too hard with each other. And never mind, 3 wide for the race lead at the start-finish line, and within a blink of an eye, they go from single file to 3 different lanes, battling for the lead. And Aaron Garcia in the 1 car, who went all the way down to the inside, he's going to prevail. He's going to go from 3rd to the lead and back out front. Working stage 1. It's the top 5 that get the stage points. And some of the drivers who are a little bit below the cut line coming into this race, such as maybe Trey Hollywood, Josh Colombiez, Jeffrey Robinson Jr. They're going to be pressing hard for these stage points. Harold Burden in the 39 as well. There's Jordan Green, 6-time NASCAR champion. Got involved in an early incident. There was no caution for it, but as you can see, he and Jordan Roughton, along with Timmy Brown and others, have lost the draft with the lead group, and he's really just going to need to hold on until the end of the stage at this point. And there's Harold. He began the playoffs with a win at Texas, and that locked him into the round of 8. And this, of course, being the very first race in the round of 8, it's really the first race in a couple of weeks where Harold's really needed to be careful, and the pressure is really on. And we saw a moment ago big problems there. Jeffrey Robinson Jr. in the 61 car spun, made contact with the wall and another car. I don't believe we're under caution from this, and that is a heartbreaker for one of our round of 8 playoff drivers. Jeffrey Robinson Jr., he's a former NASCAR champion on NASCAR 15 and Supercross. And there you see Monty Motorsports in the 54. Makes a move around the outside, and that's Emily in the white and red Chevy Camaro coming into the picture to challenge for position as well. Jeffrey is still on the lead lap, but the leaders are not that far behind this group of 3 cars. And that just goes to show you how quickly things can change here. And a feel-good story here. Jackson Stott's given a great run here early in the going in stage 1. In that number 17 Chevy Camaro, he started deep in the field, and he's worked his way up inside the top 5. he and Jason Doro have both been picking them off one at a time. Now running 4th and 5th. Trey Hollywood, he's not really ran any worse than 6th ever since the start of this race. That's where he's running right now in the 51. Two-time NASCAR World Champ Trenton Krentz in the 16. Was eliminated in the round of 12 here in this year's playoffs in his rookie season. Not a bad way to begin his MotorMaster campaign and MotorMaster career. Got Josh Colm-Diaz in the 7 just behind him. Jesse Carlson in the 20 just in front of him. Really, Trenton is surrounded by drivers that are still alive and in the round of 8 here. He wants to be careful, but he definitely is not going to lay down and let them get away. He's going to challenge for these positions. We were talking a little bit earlier about how important the draft is and track position is, and you can see this group is really thinned out. And really all it takes is a couple of drivers to get all discombobulated in the corner, maybe contact is made, and one car goes up wide, and before you know it, 1 or 2, 3 of them crash or collide, and they lose a few car lengths, and the pack is gone. And we've seen some of these drivers like Jeffrey Robinson Jr., Timmy Brown, Alex Tesdall, Emily, Jordan Roughton, and others have some sort of issue in stage 1. Not a major one, but major enough to the point where they've lost touch with this lead group. And green flag pit stops beginning. I only saw one car going down so far. It was an early stop, and that's Trey Hollywood. And we should mention, folks, it's King G in the number 10 Chevy Camaro leading this race. And I apologize for scrolling through, but there you see him, and now he's lost the lead since then to the 1 of Aaron Garcia. We've had 3 different leaders so far in tonight's race. The 1, the 10, and the 2. And it's the 1 and the 2 out of those 3 drivers that are still alive in the round of 8 and battling for this championship. In fact, they are the top 2-seeded drivers in the playoffs. Talking about Matt Smith in the 2, Aaron Garcia in the 1. And Jackson Stotts found the outside wall coming out of turn 4 that last time by, was able to hold on to it, but he lost the 4th place position to the defending MotorMaster champ, Jason Doro. Now in danger of possibly losing 5th to a couple of round of 8 drivers. Jesse Carlson in the lime green and orange Toyota Supra, along with Harold Burden in the blue and white number 39 Chevy Camaro just behind him in 7th. Josh Colm-Diaz in the red number 7 Chevy Camaro running in 8th. And Trenton Krentz, 2-time world champ from Gran Turismo Sports, going to take that 8th place position away. That puts Josh Colm-Diaz, one of the round of 8 playoff drivers, back into 9th. Alex Tesdall, another round of 8 playoff driver, running in 10th. Checking in on the former NASCAR champ from NASCAR 15, that'd be Jeffrey Robinson Jr. Well, really, there's a few former champs from 15 in here, but Jeffrey was involved in that early incident, one of the round of 8 playoff drivers, heavy damage to the nose of that Toyota Supra. As you can see, he's going to need to address that on pit road, whether it's before the end of the stage or at the end of the stage. And now the cars are coming to a stop, and I'm not sure if this is for the end of the stage or not. We're going to get confirmation on that shortly. And it is. Stage 1 is in the history books, and it's going to go to Aaron Garcia, the pole sitter, driver of the 1 Chevy Camaro. 6 wins for him this season, 2nd in the playoffs, and this is exactly what he needs if he wants to advance his way to the Final 4 at Homestead. That's right, you heard right, folks. We're going to Homestead this year for our Final 4 championship finale. It's the first time we've done it since our seasons when we began all of this back on NASCAR 15 Victory Edition. King G picking up 2nd in the stage. Matt Smith picking up 3rd in the stage. Jason Doro picking up 4th in the stage. And I believe it was Harold Burden taking home 5th, and that stage point will help him. He came into all of this tonight below the cut line, and we are green for stage 2. Whew. 20 cars out there, and they were 2, 3, 4 wide, and especially deeper in the field. They've settled down a little bit deeper in the field. It's actually, the action is primarily up front. Matt Smith is hung out to dry on the outside. He's going to get freight trained on the front stretch. No drafting help up there, and he's going to drop outside of the top 5 if he's not careful. He's right now in P5 with Harold Burton to the inside of him. Got the launch down the back stretch and uses the draft with the cars up on the outside line over there, and he's going to hold on to the 5th place position. Aaron Garcia, King G, Jason Doro, Jackson Stotts, Matt Smith, your top 5. Battles all over this racetrack, and up front it's still Aaron Garcia leading the way, and you've noticed Matt Smith has picked off 1 position. He's back up into 4th. Harold Burton on the inside of Jackson Stotts looking for 5th. That is the closest side-by-side battle for position towards the front. And there's 9 cars in this lead group, and Jeffrey Robinson Jr. is the lead car in the 2nd pack of cars, and he's beginning to rebound a little bit from his problems in stage 1. Driver of the 61 Toyota Supra, you'll see him pop into the frame every now and then, leading that 2nd group, but we're going to keep our eye on the battle for the lead. Aaron Garcia uses the launch out of the corner on the outside line to hold King G behind him for another lap, and we've had 3 different leaders in this race. They're all still up there running in the top 5. First race in the round of 8 for the 2022 MotorMaster playoffs. And some of these drivers have a higher level of urgency than others to get up there and get these stage points. It's the top 5 finishers in the stages who get those stage points. And a big move there by Jack Stotts in the 17, the black car there. Chevy Camaro, he's trying to get to the outside of Matt Smith in the 2. And he was there for a moment, not there anymore. The battle for the lead is heating up here, King G, with a run of momentum to the inside. Jason Doro goes with him. Harold Burton going with him as well, but now the outside line's got some help. It's Aaron Garcia in the 1, Matt Smith in the 2, Jack Stotts in the 17 goes up to the top side, and it's beginning to look like a super speedway style race, but it's here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. First race in the round of 8 for the playoff drivers, and there's a lot of them in this lead group. King G in the 10 takes the race lead. He led that lap anyways. He's not clear, but he's really got nothing to lose. He was eliminated in the round of 12, and he's really good hunting for those wins at this point. Just behind him, Jason Doro in the white and blue and green 08 Chevy Camaro. We're riding with them primarily here. He is the defending MotorMaster champ, and he's looking for his very first win of the season still. And with only 4 races left, he's looking pretty good to get it done here tonight. Matt Smith going to shift to the bottom in that red number 2 Chevy Camaro, and that might have been a good call. There's a couple of strong cars down there, and there's more cars down on the bottom line than there is the top. When they go down the back straightaway, though, naturally the cars go to the outside, up to the wall, to set themselves up for the next corner going into turn 3. I was thinking that might help Aaron Garcia in this point, but it really didn't. King G is going to lead this lap, but he's going to have Jason Doro and Matt Smith right behind him, and there was contact made there with Aaron Garcia, Matt Smith. Trenton Prentz goes sliding through the grass and into the inside wall near the exit of pit road. I can't believe they're still under green, but that's really gonna hinder the ability and the performance of the 16 and the 1, and I guarantee you they're not going to win the stage now. Excuse me, the 16 and the 2, they have both lost the draft with this lead group. Both falling outside of the top 5. And that leaves King G with the lead, and he's still contested. He still has about a 7-car pack to deal with, and then you'll find Matt Smith in 8th, Jeffrey Robinson Jr. in 9th, and Blair Roussel out of Canada running in 10th. And man, that really shook things up, though. It changes everything, and it's really been the theme for the NASCAR MotorMaster Series over the last 5 seasons. Really, in the blink of an eye, the complexion of one of these races can completely change. And this is the case here for Stage 2 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Round 33 of the season. King G still hunting for that first ever MotorMaster Series win. Jason Doro just behind him, looking for his first of the season and 5th of his career. No one will ever forget the 4-wide finish for the championship last year at Phoenix, where Jason Doro was crowned the champion. Just looking back through the field, you can see everyone is really strung out, and there's no second pack to be found. After the top 7 lead group, you really just find a string of cars spread out around the racetrack. Nobody close enough to make a charge back up there towards the lead pack. Not before the end of Stage 2 anyway. New leader, 4th different leader of the race, and it's Jason Doro, the defending champ. First lap led for him tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and it's a good time to do it. He needs stage points if he wants to further guarantee his round of 4 spot for Homestead. Some of these other round of 8 playoff drivers coming to life here. They know how valuable these stage points are. Aaron Garcia in 2nd, Josh Colm-Diaz up to 3rd. It's the highest he's run all race long. Jesse Carlson in the lime green and orange, number 20 Toyota Supra. He's trying to take 4th from Jack Stotts, and he's got Harold Burden in the group as well. He's running in 7th. These are all round of 8 playoff drivers, 5 of the top 7. Really impressed with Jack Stotts in the 17. He's hanging tough up in the outside, and a big crash. Aaron Garcia in the 1 lost control coming out of turn 4, and he's spun right in front of the lead group. Jack Stotts in the 17, nowhere to go. Heavy contact for about 7 or 8 cars, and this is going to bring out the caution for the first time tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And that could end the stage here. And I believe it did. It did. Yes, that is going to end the stage. This caution is going to bring the Stage 2 to an end about a lap and a half too soon, or early rather. And Jason Doro is going to pick up the stage win. 5 valuable stage points for him in his quest for the championship this year. It's Josh Colm-Diaz in the 7 car just behind him, who's going to finish in 2nd, claim 4 stage points. And I believe it's King G in the 10 taking 3rd. And all the results will be on the NOSSCAR.com website later tonight, folks. And Now we're shifting over to final stage time. It's the level of urgency is at its highest now more than ever in this race. The green flag is back in the air. Several cars with great speed are going to be trying to make their way forward from the back of this group. It's going to be exciting to watch, and some drivers up near the front have not been there all day long. Jason Doro is going to lead this lap. Josh Colm-Diaz, Blair Roussel, Jeffrey Robinson Jr., and King G. That is your top five. Jesse Carlson, Trey Hollywood, Trenton Krentz running 6th, 7th, and 8th right there in this group as well. Alex Tesdall, Matt Smith rounding out the top 10. And I should mention, folks, the top 5 drivers, top 6 now, are all looking for their very first win this season, and most of them looking for their first career NASCAR MotorMaster Series win, all of them within grasp of it. And that's usually when you see some wild racing and a wild and exciting finish as well. They're going to lay it all on the line here tonight in the High Roller 300 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We will see green flag pit stops throughout the final stage if we go caution-free. And really, we've only seen one tonight. 20-car field, and for the most part everybody's been very well behaved. They know what's at stake for these round of 8 playoff drivers. It's the first race of the round of 8, and honestly it's almost as important as the cutoff race. You really do want to start a playoff round as strong as possible, because you really don't want to have to dig yourself out of a hole throughout the rest of the round and feel that extra pressure to perform well. And it's the top 12 that have kind of separated themselves from the rest of the field. Jordan Roughton running in 13th in the number 18 Toyota Supra. He's the first car in the second group, along with Jordan Green, Timmy Brown, and others, but they're not tightly bunched like this front group is, and I don't think they have a very good chance of running down this lead group. Some of these drivers that are about 13th on back will need a yellow to have a chance to win this race. All round of 8 drivers in the playoffs are in this lead group in the top 12 and very much alive to win this race here tonight. The top 4 are very spread and single file at this point, and they're beginning to drive away from the rest of this group. And that's Jason Doro, Blair Roussel, Jeffrey Robinson Jr., and Trenton Krentz. The longer you stay side by side with somebody, that's the slower you're going to be. And we've got problems here again on the front stretch this time. Matt Smith lost control in the grass, came back up onto the racetrack just a moment ago in front of Jordan Roughton. Heavy contact was made there, and we are going to be under caution again. And this time in the final stage, this shakes up the strategy quite a bit. It ultimately began with Jack Stotts in the 17 making contact with the 1 of Aaron Garcia, and somehow in the aftermath, Matt Smith in the 2 car found his way into that as well and lost control, spun through the inside grass, came back up onto the racetrack, and contact was made with a few others and putting us under the yellow. Ultimately, this is exactly what the drivers that have lost touch with the lead group needed, because I don't think that there was enough of them tightly bunched together to make a run back up there and try to challenge and catch the lead group again. And it might exactly be what the leaders didn't want to see. They had everything going their way so far. The green flag is back in the air. And you're watching round 33 of the season, folks. The fourth to last race of the 2022 season. First race in the round of 8. A lot on the line here. These round of 8 drivers looking for every point possible. Keep their hopes alive for the MotorMaster Series Championship finale at Homestead. And right now we're being led by Jason Doro, Blair Roussel, Trey Hollywood, Trenton Krentz, and Jeffrey Robinson Jr. The draft has been key, track position has been key, decision making on when to make your moves, what line to take. That has all made a difference on where everybody is running right now, who has a chance to win this race. And honestly, these drivers have been learning lots throughout this race about what works and what doesn't. And that's going to factor into what we see unfold here in these final laps. And another heartbreaking situation this time for Jeffrey Robinson Jr. in the 61. One of our round of 8 playoff drivers went way up high through 1 and 2 that last time by. He's skimmed the outside wall just enough to lose enough speed and lose touch with the lead group. He might be able to reel in the 18 of Jordan Roughton and possibly stay in the draft with the lead group. We'll have to see how that goes. Well, last year's champ still leading the way. Blair Roussel just behind him in second, giving him a heck of a push. It almost looks like they're trying to work together to maybe drive away from the rest of the group, but I really don't think that a pair of cars is going to be able to drive away from the rest of the group. Even if they're side by side battling for position, I think that eventually that larger group will prevail and they'll charge back and catch that pair. Right now it's King G leading that group in the third place position. He just took it from Trey Hollywood, and it's all changing every lap. Everybody using the draft to their advantage, trying to position themselves as high, as far to the front as possible for the end of this race. And we just saw Trenton Krentz go all the way down to the white line on the back straightaway. He was trying to make a move on Alex Tesdall, and it actually might have worked. He's getting some draft help there from Jesse Carlson. Going to take over the 9th place position. There's 11 cars in this lead group, and now here he goes. Roussel in the 66 trying to make a move to the inside, and Aaron Garcia is going to make a move even further to the inside. They were 3 wide for a moment. Blair thought better of it. Goes back up to the outside to give a push to the 08 Chevy Camaro. And a couple of cars got really loose that last time by, coming out of turn 2. Jack Stotts was one, Aaron Garcia was the other, and everybody held on to it. So Jason Doro leading. Blair Roussel in the 66 car. Every now and then is peeking down to the inside, but he's not been able to make a move on Jason Doro just yet. In fact, he's kind of been hindering the performance a little bit of Aaron Garcia, who keeps getting good runs, but every time he makes a move, the 66 is there. It just doesn't seem to want to let him go. Oh, contact was made there with Jack Stotts in the 17, Aaron Garcia in the 1. They're 3 wide now. And Jason Doro must be looking in his rear view mirror and really liking all of this. Have at her, boys. I'm going to try to drive on out of here because just for a couple of laps there, Jason was trying to make his car as wide as possible, defend the outside and inside line. The draft very strong here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway with these Xfinity cars. And everybody in this lead group really does still have a chance to win this race. And well, everybody, 31 laps to go at Las Vegas. I was going to tell us it's a good time to do a good old-fashioned crank it up, but no, folks, it indeed is not. We have a big spin on the front stretch, and it was a 3 or 4 car crash involving Blair 66, and I believe that a couple of others got a piece of that as well. They have lost the draft with the lead group. There is King G in the 10, led a lot of laps in this race, and I don't believe we're under caution from any of this, and this is going to really shake things up. Some of those drivers no longer in contention to challenge for today's win at Las Vegas. The top 3 have separated themselves from the rest of the field. The second group of cars is a 5-car group, and if they can stay single file and bunched up the way that they are, who knows, they might be able to run down the top 3 not too far behind. The 5-car pack as a pair, it's Trey Hollywood and Jeffrey Robinson Jr. If they can begin to work together, they might be able to work their way up to the 5-car group. They get a 7-car group, run down the top 3. That's how important the draft is here tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Jordan Roughton in the 18, rounding out the top 10. He was able to miss that big wreck. And Timmy Brown in the 8-car, former Brickyard 200 winner, scored an 11th. Dave Marks Jr. in the 68, running in 12th, just behind him. Both of them were able to miss that one. And here was the second group I was talking about. Harold Burden with a win this season. Jesse Carlson, 2 wins this season. Josh Colm Diaz in the 7, winless this season, close on many occasions. Trenton Krentz in the 16, the 2-time world champion from Gran Turismo Sport, winless this season. Alex Tesdall, Triple Crown winner, but winless this season. That is who is in this group, running 4th on back to the 9th place position. We'll have to see how it all unfolds from this point forward. 4th on back to the 8th place position, rather. And with under 30 laps remaining, let's go on ahead and crank it up, folks. Grab the volume knob, turn it sky high, and we'll meet back here in just a couple of minutes. And go on ahead and crank it down for a moment, folks. We have an update for you. Green flag pit stops underway here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The current race leader is Matt Smith in the 2, staying on the racetrack for a couple of extra laps, but the drivers he was up there battling with, Jason Doro, Aaron Garcia, they have since then went to pit road for scheduled green flag service. And now here comes Matt Smith. He's going to bring the number 2 Chevy Camaro down pit road, this time by, along with Trenton Prince and Alex Tesdahl, the 2 Air Force Motorsports cars. There's Alex, Triple Crown winner. And this gives the race lead, I believe, over to Harold Burden in the 39. I think he led the most recent lap by, but now it is Jesse Carlson in the 20 that has taken the lead from him. I believe both of those cars might be coming to pit road this time by, and they are. A solid entrance to pit road by both of those cars, both of those drivers. And now this is going to hand the race lead over to Jordan Green, the 6-time NASCAR champion and NASCAR Hall of Famer for all of his handiwork back on NASCAR 15 Victory Edition. And there you see him sporting a very retro pink and blue number 4 Chevy Camaro. You saw him scrape the wall there that most recent time by, coming out of turn 2. He's on much older tires than the 2 cars that just flashed on past him, and that was Aaron Garcia and Jason Doro. And now Jordan Green's going to bring the number 4 Chevy Camaro to pit road after leading a lap here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And now, because Matt Smith in the 2 car decided to wait a couple of extra laps before making his scheduled pit stop, he's not going to be right there with Aaron Garcia and Jason Doro. He's actually lost the draft with them, but he does have Josh Colm-Diaz in the 7 car with them. They both might be able to work together and drive back up towards this pair of Aaron Garcia and Jason Doro. And honestly, folks, there's another pair of cars right here running 5th and 6th. That's Jesse Carlson in the lime green and orange number 20 Toyota Supra, and Trenton Prince in the number 16 Chevy Camaro. They might be able to work together and work their way forward as well. So really, there's a couple of tag teams going on that are going to try to work together for the greater good. And it's Harold Burden. I believe it's Sean Lucas and Jordan Roughton running 7th, 8th, and 9th. We should give a call to Sean Lucas, the driver, the number 78, making a start here tonight in the NASCAR MotorMaster Series. Long-time NASCAR driver from back on NASCAR 15 Victory Edition. He's always welcome to jump in whenever he's got the time, and it's great to see him back at a NASCAR MotorMaster Series race. Monty Motorsports, another sim racing veteran from the NASCAR 15 Victory Edition days, and driving the number 54 Toyota Supra for Juicy J Motorsports this year, and having a pretty good part-time campaign. He's definitely racing very respectful and comfortably around the playoff drivers. He knows what's at stake. Being a veteran driver, he knows what it's like to be in those types of positions, and he's definitely one to race with a lot of respect. And this is what the battle for the lead looks like. Jason Doro's got it, and Aaron Garcia running in 2nd. Matt Smith in the 2 has 2 lap fresher tires than these guys. He's taken 3rd place from Josh Colm-Diaz, and since then he's been able to drive away, and he's actually been able to cut into the deficit a little bit, cut into the gap, the interval, with the drivers running 1-2. Talking about Matt Smith, and there you see him, 2-time NASCAR Platinum Cup Series champion. Came so close last season to winning the MotorMaster Series championship. It was a wild 4-wide finish at Phoenix to decide and crown the 2021 MotorMaster champion. And Honestly, Matt Smith wrecked high, Jordan Dorsek wrecked low, and it was a drag race between Kevin Tattersall and Jason Doro to the line, and Jason Doro won it by a bumper, by a front splitter, to be crowned your champion. And an update for a few different drivers. King G led a lot of laps in this race. Got that number 10 Air Force Motorsports Chevy Camaro parked on pit road and motionless. The crew doesn't look in a hurry to work on that car. They appear to be done for the day. Jack Stotts in the 17 car ran up in the top 5 for most of this race. Is also parked motionless with no work being done. And it appears he is going to be parked for the end of this one as well. To the inside goes Aaron Garcia, and the one looking for the lead from Jason Doro. And this is going to be interesting to watch because they're catching a couple of cars just in front of them that they're going to try to put a lap down, and that's going to help Jason Doro. It's going to give him something to draft off of, and it's going to give him a little bit of extra speed that might be exactly what he needed to keep the one car behind him for another handful of corners. And they made a nice move to the inside on Monty Motorsports in the 54 Toyota Supra. They're now looking to the low side on Dave Marks Jr. in the 68. Oh, there was contact there between Aaron Garcia and Dave Marks Jr. No caution, nobody spins either, but damage to the right front of one of our contenders, one of our round of 8 playoff drivers, and definitely one of our contenders to win tonight's race at Las Vegas. Quick update on the second group. Jesse Carlson, that lime green Toyota, he's now scored in 4th. Brought Trenton Krenz with him past the number 7 of Josh Colm-Diaz. I'm almost certain Josh is going to need to make another pit stop in this race, but some of these drivers that waited as long as possible, they might be trying to do the impossible and make it to the end on the fuel and tires that they have. So this could get shaken up a little bit by strategy late in the race. Here in the High Roller 300 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, we only have 11 laps remaining until we crown a winner. And if it's one of our round of 8 playoff drivers, they are locked in to the Final 4 at Homestead. And looking around the track a little bit, we are seeing a couple of cars bring their cars down pit road. These drivers coming in for a splash and go, some of them. So honestly, I think that some of these front runners who short pit to get some track position, they might be a little close on fuel. And we know that the right front tires are wearing a lot on the cars that are entering this race with a slightly tighter preset and playing it on the safe side. Whereas the drivers coming in with a looser car are battling the right rear tire wear. Gotta wonder if the right side tires are going to be able to make it a full run, or maybe even longer if these drivers are having to save any fuel to make it to the end. Under 10 remaining. So if anybody's going to come in, they're coming in now, and if anybody's truly just going to go for it, then they're going to need to start saving now, or they might have needed to have been saving for quite some time. The top two, I can tell you, are not saving anything. It looks like Aaron Garcia is actually trying to draft with Jason Doro as much as he can to keep the 2 car from catching them. The 2 has a 2-lap fresher tire difference, as well as 2 laps more fuel. He could afford to push a little harder. And the second group of cars, they have the most fuel and tires of anybody. And now to the lead goes the pole sitter, Aaron Garcia. 6 wins for him this season, looking for number 7. Got the Truck Series points lead on Tuesdays as well. And definitely one of the heavy hitters this season for the championship in the MotorMaster Series. Don't look now though, folks. Matt Smith, he is there. The 2 car is back into the same frame as these top 2, and now it's anybody's race. "11 wins for Matt Smith. Number 1 seed here in the playoffs. Really just needs to tiptoe and get some decent finishes, and he will surely advance to the Final 4 at Homestead. But now it is Aaron Garcia in the 1, and now it's, oh, what is going on here? I think that Jason Doro in the 08 Chevy just signaled that he needs to go to pit road, and now Aaron Garcia just signaled that he is now going to pit road. Jason Doro stayed on the racetrack. Things are about to get interesting. There is 2 laps to go. Matt Smith in the 2 just took the lead from Jason Doro, and he's going to be the one in the catbird seat to win this thing, I think, but you can tell he's really saving fuel. Here comes Jesse Carlson and Trenton Krentz. The lime green car getting a push from Trenton Krentz in the 16. There might have actually been contact between Trenton and Jason Doro just a moment ago. Either that or Trenton's out of fuel as they go across the front stretch. This is the final lap. If anyone sputters, they lose this race. Well, man, we saw Timmy Brown down on the apron. He was out of fuel going into turn 2. Out of turn 4, Matt Smith so far is up to full song. He's going to do it. He crosses the line and he wins the High Roller 300 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. A master plan came together here, and he hits the jackpot. Not only does he claim his 12th win of the season, but he also claims his 24th career MotorMaster Series win and punches his ticket to the season finale, a Final 4 spot at Homestead. And a great effort there by one of our round of 8 drivers as well, Jesse Carlson. That lime green car, 2 wins for him this season. Had the fuel and tires to make it to the end as well, and he was almost there. Finishes in second. Trenton Krentz is going to finish in third, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Harold Burden in the 39 car finishing in fourth, and Alex Tesdall running in fifth, rounding out the top 5, and just getting a confirmation that is truly the case. Trey Hollywood, Jordan Green, Emily, Josh Colm-Diaz, and Jeffrey Robinson Jr. rounding out the top 10. Well, we saw a little bit of everything. Long runs, short runs, and 2 and 3 wide. We saw times when everybody was strung out around this racetrack and when everyone was truly having to show their individual speed instead. Saw some different strategies, especially in the final stage. Once there's more laps in the stage, it really opens the door a little wider for strategies to unfold. And yeah, folks, we saw it all unfold here tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and came down to a couple of extra laps of fuel for Matt Smith, and that was the deciding factor in the end. Amazing charge by Jesse Carlson and Trenton Krentz. They definitely made it interesting. Jason Doro, Aaron Garcia, so close to capturing a win here tonight. Jason Doro still winless somehow, some way, as the defending champion. And really, I thought tonight was his night at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. When he signaled that he was coming to pit road, that's when I got a little bit nervous for him, and he didn't even come to pit road right away. In fact, it was Aaron Garcia that came to pit road that lap instead. And then eventually Jason Doro did have to bring it to pit road. Congratulations again to Matt Smith, the driver of the number 2 Chevy Camaro, the 2-time NASCAR Platinum Cup Series champion, and looking to become the 2022 NASCAR MotorMaster Series champion, first time in his career, and he's well on his way. 12 wins this season. It is a new season record. He's got 3 more races to keep that momentum going strong all the way to Homestead.